What's up, guys and gals? It's Mizuna, and welcome back to another episode of Kerbal Space Program. Today, we are starting things over. There are going to be two episodes today, this one and the next one, because we have to start over because Farum Aeronautics Research had a game-breaking bug with this version of KSP. My fault. It's not updated to this version, but that's totally my fault. It's a great mod. But anyway, game-breaking bug with this version of KSP that made fins and control surfaces uncontrollable, basically. They just didn't respond to controls whatsoever. So we'll just have to wait until that one's updated. So we are going to restart. However, as you can see, I've done a full reinstall, and things seem to be working a little bit better now. I've done some testing. This is the state funding page. So now we get to pick a state that we want to fund us. I think I'm going to go with the KKU. These people want to see wages raised and tax dollars spent well. They don't have a high opinion of space exploration and would rather you added some infrastructure because Kerbin has no roads outside your complex. They also have very little tolerance for a failed mission. On the bright side, the KKU has an enormous budget and will highly reward a perfectionist space program. So yes, we are going to try very hard to run perfect missions, every mission. We're going to try very hard to make that happen. So let's select that. We start the game with a little bit of a budget, 26,775 credits, Kerbal dollars. I don't really know what they're called. Anyway, thanks, I've got it. So this episode is going to be basically the same as the episode that I uploaded last, except obviously the mods have shifted around a little bit. And the episode that comes out directly after this one is going to be kind of episode 2. So I think I'm going to probably name this one episode 1.1 or something like that. So we have our remote tech contracts working now, which is great. Field research, definitely going to take that. Oh, we can only have one of these? Oh, no, we can accept that. That's kind of weird that that didn't work. Very weird. Oh, well. Alright, SETI contracts. Altitude record. A little bit harder without FAR enabled, so we'll see. We're not going to be able to escape the atmosphere on our first launch anymore. We have no science, and we don't have the capability to make a rover to rove around the KSC and get science, so our first launch is still going to have to be with just a little probe. So let's see what we can do here. We're going to grab the SETI probe stack. We are going to grab an engine. What we want to look at is the delta V. So, for instance, with the Grasshopper engine, we have 1,300 meters per second of delta V. That sounds like a lot, but it's actually not that much. Especially if I believe we can... There we go. We can see that our DV is much lower, this low in the atmosphere. If we turn up the Mach value, it doesn't look like it actually changes anything, so that's fine. Thrust to weight with a Grasshopper is quite high. We don't want it quite that high, so we're going to pull it down to about 50%. This is the rocket that we're going to use, however, for this. I don't know if this will even get us to the height that we want, 18 kilometers. I'm not really sure. We're going to try it, though. We're going to try it. We're going to send up one battery, because I think that's all we're going to need. We need an antenna. Just the one is plenty, thanks. Our thrust to weight is 3.87. That's fine. Delta V, only 900 delta V. And obviously, we could make this a little bit better if we wanted to. We are also going to send up a barometer on the opposite side to our communications antenna. So I think I am going to increase our delta V a little bit and grab ourselves some SRBs here. So we're going to be spending about 2,000 monies on this, and that's fine. Let's see, does this decrease our DV a lot? It goes from 1,700 to 1,661. Thrust to weight goes down, cost goes up. But I think the aerodynamic forces are going to be gonna make that worth it. So 1 battery should allow us to send from the launch pad and from in the atmosphere. And I really doubt that this sounding rocket is going to get out of the atmosphere. So excuse me while I reposition my microphone a little bit. MSA sounding rocket. Tab doesn't work. Designed to go up. Not Y up. Up. Then come down. Save that, and let's just launch. Now, does it count as a failed mission for the purposes of our... I mean, we have no choice. We don't have any parachutes or anything that we can use, so this is what we've got. I was wondering if this counts, because it is going to crash, obviously. I wonder if this counts as a failed mission for the purposes of state funding. I guess we'll find out. Alright, so we do have control. It says local control. Not sure why this is connected. Oh well. Alright, so let's perform all science on the launch pad. Send that back. Alright, science uploaded. Okay. We're going to get rid of the Science Here and Now window because I've heard that that's causing some stutters for some people. We have SAS on this probe core. It does have an SAS module, so what if we just click this button? Okay, perfect. In fact, it can go prograde, retrograde as well. So we are going to turn on SAS. I don't think it matters because we don't have a reaction wheel or anything, but we'll find out. So, contract parameter configuration. Let's launch. We are going to wait until we get as high as it's going to take us here. We're moving at 400, 500, 600, 700, 900, 1100. Looks like we're getting up there to 1400 dV, or 1400 meters per second. We broke 18 kilometers, which is excellent. And now we are actually going to leave the atmosphere on this launch. Excellent. So that's really good. Unfortunately, we didn't take enough battery power, but I will grab the science from outside of the atmosphere because we'll be grabbing atmospheric science all over the place very shortly. Probably in the next episode when we build our first little science plane, which was the plan, if you recall. I'm going to wait to perform all science until we're outside of the atmosphere so that we can maximize our gains for this mission. 64, 65, 66. Time accelerate a little bit. There we go. Perform all science. Send that stuff back to the KSC. Music changes to indicate that we are outside of the atmosphere, and now we can just time warp our way all the way down. Perform all science. Can we send an atmospheric pressure scan or a temperature scan? Let's try that. Nope, not enough electric charge. That's fine. Alright, SAS disengaged because we are out of energy. We're out of solid fuel. And now, I'm wondering if this affects our... Does it count as a failure? Does anybody know? Outcome, catastrophic failure. I'm not sure if that is exactly what they are referring to. I don't know if that influences state opinion or not in that mod. If it does, that's fine. You know, it makes some sense. The general public in a society where there are no roads outside of the KSC wouldn't really understand why we're just sending a rocket up and then letting it explode on the ground. So, for our next trick, we are going to need to build a rover. Let's buy the RoveMate, let's buy the wheels, let's buy strip lights, let's get ourselves the Z400 rechargeable batteries, and I think that may be all that we need to make ourselves... Oh, you know what we actually need? Uncharted depths of the ocean. I want the seismometer. What gives us that? Or the seismic accelerometer, rather. This gives the mag. Where is that? Does anybody know where that is? Is it in aviation, structural parts? We could just, oh, here it is. It's right here. Double C seismic accelerometer. So we're going to grab that as well, which is fantastic. We could grab the submersible oceanography and bathymetry, maybe? That obviously needs to be in the water, and I don't know if we're quite ready for that. I don't really know how to use this, to be honest. I've never built a sub in this game or anything like that, so we'll just have to try that at some other point. Alright, so that's all we need for our next mission. Our next mission is to build a rover that's going to travel around, pick up all the science from around the KSC. So let's try that. I don't know why it does this. I have no idea why it orients this way in the spaceplane hangar. But what we can do is just... No, is it W? There we go. That should be facing forward. I'm not sure which way is forward and which way is backwards here. I wish there was some indication. If there's even a mod of some indication. Okay, I think this is the front. That little blink tells me what I need to know. If there is a mod that allows me to better understand where this is going, please do let me know. Alright, we're going to turn on the symmetry here, and then we're going to do the same right over here. We're going to try very hard to line this up so that the wheels are even. We're going to check out the center of mass overlay. It's a little bit low, which is actually very good. Does the center of thrust give us any indication? No. Or, whoa, it's all the way down there. Well, that's interesting. Very weird. Okay, so this should be the front then, which means I want to disable steering on the back wheels. I mean, I could be completely screwing this up, but that remains to be seen. Steering there, that's fine. Okay, this should be okay. Now we're going to grab our batteries, Z400. We're going to turn off symmetry for the purposes of this. Put one on either side of the vessel. We're going to turn off our center of mass overlay. It's a little bit distracting. Grab a Communitron 16S, put that directly in the middle, and then grab our 3 science experiments. The thermometer, the accelerometer, looks good, and the barometer, looking good. Okay, we have batteries, we have communications, we have the 3 science experiments currently available to us, as well as a telemetry report for the probe core itself. We can turn off the center of thrust overlay. I believe that this is all set up. Is there anything else that we need that you guys can think of? Strip lights. Thank you for reminding me. Now, we are going to... Does this work? Yes, it does. We're going to rotate this way. There you go. We have lights now. Does it work on the sides? Not in that symmetry mode. Maybe if it's radial symmetry, it'll work on those sides. Perfect. So now we have lights as well. We are going to call this the MSA Rover MK1, because this one will be changing. The sounding rocket, not so much. I don't think we're going to need another one of those. So, Rover MK1, designed to drive around the KSC and collect data. There you go. We're going to save this. We're going to launch this. And we're going to see... The other change that I've made to my setup between last episode and this episode is that I now have a joystick, so that there will be far less clicking, which should make... it'll certainly make me very happy. I don't know about you guys, but... Okay, so... It looks like we have the correct controls, more or less. I think throttle is inverse. Yep. Throttle is inverse, but that's okay. Alright, so we don't have perform all science from there, but if we pin this, and then pin this. We can say perform all science here, keep all 4 of those, and then collect all of that science. Perfect. So now each biome that we visit, okay, and the wheels are reversed. They're steering, but that's fine. That just means that, or the back wheels are turning rather than the front wheels, which is fine. It's not a huge deal. Okay, so now we should be able to hop off of the runway. We should be able to perform all the science on from the KSC. This is not one of the sub-biomes of the KSC. Going to collect all of that. Perfect. Then we're going to make our way over to the space plane hangar. And you can get science from around the space plane hangar and from inside of the space plane hangar, which is pretty cool. We also have brakes mapped to one of my buttons on this joystick, which is really nice, so I can tap the brakes just like that. Lights, I believe, are one of these. Those are RCS, SAS. This is that was lights. Okay. Are the lights on? No, that's the gear, right? Okay. Lights might be one of these. I don't know. We'll just turn them on manually. Did that not work? Lights on. Are they not synced to the action group? That's unfortunate. Oh well, we don't need them, obviously. It's the middle of the day. Okay, so where am I headed here? Let's just slow ourselves down. We don't want to flip. Let's open science here and now. This is the spaceplane hangar. That's perfect. Let's put the brakes on here. Perform all that science. Keep all of that and collect all of that science. We can actually turn off the results window for this so that we can do this a little bit faster without having to click a bunch of times. Alright, so now that was the SPH, Spaceplane Hangar, just the SPH itself. I believe you can also get data from inside the building. Let's go find out, shall we? Slow it down a little bit. Can we even... Is this a thing we can do? Do I just have to touch it like you do the flag? Let's go forward and... Yep, just have to touch it. So, now I can perform all science, collect all. There you go. And then we can reset all of these experiments. Perfect. Okay, that'll work. Okay. So, that was the SPH. Now we need to head over. We're going to rotate counterclockwise here around the Kerbal Space Center. We are going to collect all of the data from the administration building, the flagpole, mission control, all of these places. So, that's perfect. Heading over to the administration building. I think we'll pass by the biome. Oh, nope. Oh, unfortunate. I don't think we have any reaction wheels or anything in order to flip this thing either. Okay, I think we're just gonna have to recover the vessel. That's fine. We can recover and then fly it again. Not a big deal. It'll give us a chance to recharge those batteries as well. 70 science gathered. We need to launch yet again. Did we get the contract complete? We got our 2 contracts, the altitude record and the... those are a bunch of milestones, and escape the atmosphere, but not the... Oh, you know what I'm talking about. The science around the KSC. Alright, so... we have a strategy available. This is Strategia, by the way, is what changes this. Complete rewrite of the strategy system. Okay, so there are so many research opportunities right in our backyard. We should focus on local research to bootstrap our space program. That way, when we do make it further out there, we'll be sending the best technology we can. So, setup cost 5,000 and 20% bonus to KSC Science. There is literally no reason not to do this. So, let's just do it. That's perfect. Now, what do we have to do to get to Local Science 2? I have lost it. Here we go. Local Science 2. Reputation must be at 275 or higher to activate. So we just need more reputation. Then we get another 50% bonus to KSC and 25% bonus to Kerbal Science. That'll be really nice. I'm excited to do this. Yes. Okay, so all of these, this makes this actually helpful, which is really cool. All of these are going to be really, really nice. All right, so we get a science bonus now for researching around the KSC, so let's go ahead and relaunch that probe, or that rover, rather, and we can change the type of this rover as well to actually be a rover. Once we launch it past just the KSC, obviously it wouldn't make any sense to... All right, so now I'm going to head straight for... I believe this building here is mission control, although I'm not entirely sure. I wish there was like a little just map that I could use, but what are you gonna do? All right, so this is very flat ground, so we're going to accelerate, take a risk here, right? 30 meters per second. That's maybe a bit much. Let's decelerate now. Don't want to tap the brakes yet. I want to just let that speed burn off on its own. Perfect. Then we can just tap the brakes. Nice. Alright, so on flat ground, this thing can move, as you saw there, which is going to be really nice, actually. Alright, so this is the administration building. And that is the astronaut complex. So we're going to put the brakes on. We're going to repin what we need to pin here. Rove mate and just one of our experiments. Perform all science, collect all science, collect, there you go, and then reset the experiments. Perfect. So, now we can hit the flagpole and the astronaut complex, the VIV and the VAB, excuse me, vehicle assembly building. Okay, just gotta be careful. Tap, 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 tap the brakes. Perfect. And then perform all science, collect all science, reset those experiments so that we can use them again. And then we just need to go backwards. It looks like we're a little bit off kilter somehow. I'm not sure how that happened, but that's fine. All right, now we're going to just bump into the flagpole, which is a perfectly sensible way to gather data. Oh, and it looks like we have tipped over. That is quite unfortunate. So, that is a problem that we're going to have to contend with, is that this thing will have a tendency to flip quite easily. Not a big deal. So, we need flagpole now. So far, we haven't destroyed the rover, which makes me happy. I just want to finish this stuff and get us back to exactly where we were last time. And then we can move on in the next episode and actually get some stuff done. So, let's try that. Again, we are going to now go for the flagpole. I'm going to try and keep the speed down quite low, because it has a terrible tendency to flip. I'm not sure why this is local control. I don't know what that's all about. It's fine though. Pin this. Pin just one of these. Alright, and then we just need to head over off the runway and over to the flagpole outside of the administration building, or the astronaut complex rather. And when we are on flat ground, we can take a risk if we want and accelerate, but I think I'm just going to keep it down around 10 meters per second. Take it nice and slow. This is much more fun to pilot with a joystick than it is with the keyboard, by the way, and far less clicky, I think you'll agree. Just roving around our space center. Okay, so now I think what we want to do is, I think our main problem here is that we've just been decelerating too quickly. So if we just maintain a much more steady speed, then we shouldn't have an issue. 5 meters per second, that should be very safe to come in contact with our little flagpole here. Gonna just touch it. Just touch it a little bit. We can tap the brakes, slow ourselves down. Ooh, not go backwards. Tap the brakes. Forward. Okay. There you go. Now we can perform all science at the flagpole, collect all data, reset the experiments, and then we want to back up just a tad and then go forward. Okay. Now, R&D should be the next place, this guy here, and you can also collect data from over there at the R&D corner lab. So, kind of cool. Com signal NA. Wonder why. It's interesting that that's the case. Perform all science, collect all science, reset all of our experiments. Perfect. Now we can just rove over to the... Ooh. Man, you gotta really watch your throttle here. Oh, and I've tipped again, and destroyed a bunch of stuff. Okay, that's fine. We can recover the vessel. You gotta really, it's quite finicky. I wonder if I could limit those motors, and it might be better to limit the motors. Yeah, let's go to the spaceplane hangar and let's limit those motors down so that this thing's a little bit more usable. This episode is going a little bit longer than I thought it would, to be honest, but that's okay. So, could also be that the steering is enabled on the wrong ones. Perfect. Then enable steering here. And then brakes. I want the brakes to be more effective on the back wheels than on the front wheels. The symmetry is maintained. That's perfect. And then I want... Oh, can you not turn down the motor? I thought you could. Oh well. Let's save that now. And... man, I don't know what else I could do to make this better. I don't know. We'll just launch again. I want to collect all of the data that we can right now, and then I'll end the episode. Just don't want to leave it unfinished, and honestly, I expect that most of you will skip this episode anyway because it's a rehash, and I will label it as such in the episode title. So, not a big deal. Alright, so let's go forward now, and actually let's just aim ourselves directly towards that corner lab over there. I believe that's the corner lab, which has its own scientific biome according to the game. So you've got the R&D and then R&D corner lab. I think that's what they mean by that. I'm not entirely sure, but I do believe that that's what they mean. Now, the correct wheels are turning now when we turn, which is nice. Now, a lot of people might be thinking, well, these rovers are really unstable. My God, if you've never played this game. And the thing to remember is that we're moving at 18 meters per second right now. Per second. That's quite quick. Let's see. Well, first off, you can divide that by, or multiply that by 60. 18 multiplied by 60, you're looking at 600, about 1,000 meters per hour. So I guess that's only a kilometer per hour, but still. Alright, so now we need to... I thought that was faster. Am I doing my math wrong? One of you math geniuses, or just smart people in general, tell me what the conversion is, because that seems rather slow, doesn't it? Do I have to touch this? Yep, have to touch it. That's a really funny mechanic, isn't it? That you have to drive up and actually touch the building for it to be counted. I think that's quite funny. So, perform all science, collect all science, reset experiments. And then, which way are we going? Not that way, clearly. We're going to come back the other way. There you go. So, R&D's done. We also need the VAB main building, the tracking station, the crawlerway, and the launch pad, and then we should be pretty much set to go. So we're going to go up and grab the VAB science, tracking station, crawlerway, launch pad. And then we could even drive out to the shores if we wanted to and grab that science. Alright, so this is the VAB. We can say perform all science, collect all science, reset experiments. And then we just need to touch the VAB, and that is even more data. And remember, because of the policy that we just accepted on the strategy in the administration building, we are getting an extra 20% on all of these data points. Okay, so that's not going to work. Do we need to just get a little bit more of a... Yep. There you go. VAB main building, you can see up here. Is a different biome than the VAB itself, which is interesting. I'm not sure why they decided to do that, but it's okay. Squad has managed to create an incredible game, pushing the boundaries of the Unity game engine for sure, and I respect any decision they make to that end. We're going to drive on over to the tracking station, grab all relevant data from this, and then I'm not quite sure if you can get more data by touching the tracking station or maybe touching the antenna or something like that. But we'll try both. You never know. I believe there's a list of science in the science archives if I go and look at the R&D department, a list of experiments that we can do, and then we can check and see all of the biomes around the KSC. And then occasionally we'll just have to update this rover. Yep, tracking station hub. Look at that. So it's very, very helpful to design a decently pilotable rover as quickly as possible so that you can get all of this data from around the KSC, because I think you'll notice that by the end of this whole thing, I'll end up with probably close to 200 science, which is enough to get all of the Tier 1 and Tier 2 research done. So that's a really good start, especially in kind of a harder game mode like SETI provides. So can we touch this and get different science? No. It looks like there are two. Wonder if I'm missing out by not touching the admin building and stuff. I'll do that on my own off camera. Let's go grab the crawlerway and the launch pad real fast. And then I wonder if there's different data to be gained at the monolith over there. I'm not sure though. I don't know if that is the case or not. Alright, landed at Kerbin's KSC, which is technically a shores biome, but it all counts as different biomes as far as the experiments are concerned, which is kind of cool. We're going to turn ourselves over into the crawlerway now. This is how you would get a rocket to the launch pad in real life. Obviously, in Kerbal Space Program, we do not use the crawlerway whatsoever, but that's fine. Let's perform all science while driving. Very dangerous thing to do, but it's okay. I think we've got this. We already collected all? Okay, cool. And then launch pad, and then I'm going to go and see if I can touch that flag and maybe get some more Okay, we're on the launch pad. Seismic scan we've never done. Now, is there something different for being actually on the launch pad or touching over here or anything like that? This is all good information to have. Are you different? Nope, you are not different. Okay. Slow it down, please. There you go. Turning to the left. Going over and tapping this flagpole. And then I think I'll just take a little quick jaunt over to the monolith over there and see if we can't get some more data from there. Touch. Nope, that's not a valid biome. Okay. Now let's drive over to the monolith and end our episode there. And I think that's a good... I mean, that's a long episode. That's 35 minutes of just me kind of driving around, getting back to the point where we were. But once again, this episode is really only posted for completeness sake. I don't expect anybody to sit all the way through both episode 1 and episode 1.1. Hopefully they'll watch this one instead, moving forward. That would be nice. Okay, so now we're moving off. Oh, right, that's in the air, over the runway and everything, which is fine. Okay, we're gonna drive all the way over. You can watch up here, landed at Kerbin's KSC. I believe at a certain point we will be landed at Kerbin's shores instead, and that will be a different biome as well. I'm only at about half throttle right now, by the way, and we're moving at 30 meters per second, which is quite fast, quite speedy. Good thing the ground on Kerbin seems to be much smoother than the ground on Earth, because this wouldn't work on Earth. You can't just drive off into a grasslands and drive at 60 miles an hour and expect things to work. That's my American showing, by the way, 60 miles per hour. In case my obvious American accent didn't... oh, that's the border of the KSC. That's good to know. Didn't tip you off. I am an American English speaker, not a British English speaker. Perform all science. Collect all data. Reset experiments. And then let's just, for the sake of it, drive off and see what happens when we enter the water with this thing. Because I think it'll definitely be a different biome, but I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. Does our rover float? This is important information that we need to further scientific inquiry. 21 meters per second. I don't think I want to fly into the water at 21 meters per second, obviously, but we do want to just take a glance, check out the water, see what's going on. Alright, let's just slow it down. Slow. Brake. Okay. No. Slow it down. I'm worried about this, I won't lie, but we're gonna try it anyway. You know, I'm gonna quick save actually, because although I don't, this is an experiment for my own benefit, but I don't want to have to redo 29 data points just because I'm playing around and taking a dip. Like, say this thing spontaneously combusts as soon as it's in the water. Okay, now we are splashed down, and it does indeed float. Apparently wheels are very buoyant. That's good to know. Perform all science. Collect all data. So we could have brought the bathymetry thing, and we would have gotten data. So we can now recover the vessel and see exactly how much science we got from our first little jaunt around the KSC. I'm guessing 200. 235. Wow, that little gather session there was 90 data. So see, as we get more scientific equipment, we can redo this and get another large amount of data, which is really nice. And actually, we have gained money from doing this. Not quite sure how, but we have more money than when we started. Oh, there it is, $5,000 from, I'm just going to call them dollars. I'm not sure what they're called. I'll look it up between episodes, and I'll start calling them by their proper name. But $5,000 for completing the contract parameters. Oh, look at that. We did not grab the data from mission control, so I'm going to have to do that off camera because we don't want to go back and do that right now. So I hope you've enjoyed this first episode of Kerbal Space Program. This is the SETI Meta Modpack in version 1.4.9, I want to say, is the version that we're in. In the next episode, we'll be taking a plane around the different biomes of Kerbin to collect even more data and to prepare ourselves for our first orbit. We may or may not get to orbit in the next episode. So, thank you very much for joining me. As always, if you'd like to support the channel directly, check out my Patreon. The link is in the description down below. Like and share this video as you see fit. I hope I see you next time. As always, this is Mizuna, signing off.